experience?" he pointed out, obviously trying to cheer Eva up. She nodded. It was true that Jerome had petitioned to use their time unofficially working together to count toward the 2 years of experience needed for the license. Now she only had 11 months left. Working with Doug at Cutlass Investigations made that feel closer to a lifetime. "Hey." Jerome reached across the table and took her hand. "It's gonna be all right." As she met his familiar green eyes, warmth seeped through her. She'd recently taken the plunge to call him out on asking her to meals without making it clear what his intentions were. Thankfully, after that awkward conversation, they'd entered into a new phase of their relationship. Though the term relationship did seem to fit what they were, it hadn't been officially discussed. It was something Eva wanted to bring up that night during dinner. She hoped to gain some clarity about how to proceed, but she sensed the timing might not be right. "I know it is," she said, taking a sip of her water. "I suppose it's a bit overwhelming and not nearly as glamorous as I'd hoped." She winked at him to let him know she was merely teasing, but there was a kernel of truth to it all. "Do we need this to be a no-work-talking zone tonight?" "No." She settled the cloth napkin on her lap in preparation for their meal. "I suppose it's the same situation for anyone who's been working in a field for a long time, only to find that they need a new certification or something like that. Like going back to school at an older age. You know what it is that you do, but you have to learn the right way to do it. Usually that means starting from the bottom and working your way up. And that is never fun. I could have a talk with Doug, see if he'll ease up on you a bit." "No, definitely not." She shook her head as their waitress arrived with their entrees. When she'd left, Eva spoke up again. "Please don't say anything to him. I know he's mostly doing this as a favor to you, likely one you'll have to repay. I don't want him to think I'm the kind of woman who needs someone else to step in on her behalf." "I hear you. Loud and clear." They dug into their meal with excitement, Eva especially hungry since she'd only had a light lunch anticipating their dinner that night. As they ate, they shifted topics to those more suited to dinner conversation. Things like the already booming tourist season that was making Eva's business, the Keys Bed and Breakfast, busy at every moment, as well as the upcoming summer activities that Key West boasted. When they finished the main course, Jerome twisted Eva's arm to order dessert, and she excused herself to freshen up in the restroom. Walking through the crowded dining room, she wondered where Maxine had gotten to. Eva was used to seeing her friend floating around the main dining room area talking with guests. While Maxine wasn't a chef herself, she hired the best and had her hand in every aspect of the restaurant. By Lamplight had opened several years prior, and Eva had discovered it not long after opening. It had quickly become one of her favorite places to eat, and she was secretly happy they had decided to spring for the dessert. Eva had a weakness for French pastry. After finishing in the restroom, Eva stepped out and almost ran into a familiar face. "Geraldine?" "Eva, what are you doing here?" the woman said. Geraldine was a member of the Murder Mystery Book Club, or MMBC, that Eva had started several years prior. Tonight, the 70-year-old wore a stylish sheath dress and kimono in her typical style and had her hair wrapped in a dramatic turban. Eva always thought she looked like Angela Lansbury in the film adaptation of Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile, but with more class and less drinking. "I'm out with Jerome," she said. Eva felt her cheeks flush despite the reality that everyone at the MMBC knew she and Jerome were dating, if not in a relationship. "How lovely! And you?" Geraldine shrugged. "Out with Willard and Bonnie. It was a last-minute invitation, or we would have included you." "Nonsense," Eva said, gently squeezing her friend's upper arm. "But thanks for thinking of me. Hope you have a good night." "You too. Enjoy your time with that handsome detective." Geraldine winked, no shame in her obvious goading. Eva laughed. "I shall." They parted ways, and Eva slipped back into her seat across from Jerome. "What's that look for?" he asked. She knew better than to think he wouldn't notice the light flush she felt warming her cheeks, but she tried to push it off as nothing more than seeing Geraldine. "She said something embarrassing, didn't she?" "I wouldn't say that," Eva said, making a show of looking down at the dessert menu. "I already ordered."